to be on the internet forever. And I think there will come a time, I think, where I will just probably do everything, and then I think I'll leave.
I wish there was a way to kill me on the internet and just like somehow delete everything, or just kind of die in a sense.
Belle Delphine once ruled the internet. Like literally, this girl had us all in a chokehold. And it's not even that people actually liked her, not at all. But weirdly enough, she managed to get people curious about what she would likely do or say next. And when I tell you, people would refresh their phones every 2 seconds, bouncing between Instagram and TikTok not to miss an update from Belle. What a time it was. However, somewhere between the end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021, public interest seemed to have dropped. Nobody was searching her name as much, her Patreons weren't subscribing anymore, and even the Twitter heat she had so much enjoyed at one point took a nosedive. Even her much sensational OnlyFans remained untouched, which was absolutely insane given Belle would post up to 40 photos in a day.
My OnlyFans, I'm posting about 40 pictures a day.
Oh,
and
wow.
like
Holy
videos
crap.
as well. I try and be as active as I possibly.
Fast forward to the present day, and Belle's name is more deserted than a tombstone. She lost everything, dealing with crazy mental health challenges stemming from her past, and was disowned by her entire family. Just to mention a few consequences that have become her reality. There is no denying that her turbulent online career fizzled out, but the million-dollar question is, where is Belle Delphine? And is she dead or just dead inside wherever she is? We are about to find out. All right, loves, this is a long one, and quite arguably the most jaw-dropping, mind-blowing influencer downfall we have ever covered. You need to sit down somewhere warm and cozy with the entire popcorn maker because a bowl won't be enough. And so, without a beat, let's get into the meat.
Welcome, Belle Delphine, to the show! Yay!
You see, Belle Delphine's downfall was crafted from a laundry list of mistakes. Her downfall was built brick by brick from a towering pile of bad decisions, and for you to get the whole picture, we have to start at the top. As I had said, you'd be living under 2 rocks if you didn't know who Belle Delphine was. This is someone who sold people her bathwater at some point and even ate a photo of PewDiePie. She had no problem staying relevant by pulling crazy stunts, but then one day, Belle changed just 2 important things and people literally packed and left. The thing is, people didn't just follow Belle blindly. They found her persona super interesting. She had cleverly included mystery and intrigue in her content, and this made her unique. She had this signature cutie image and then came up with extremely weird, out of the blue, unrelated topics to back up her character.
I've got the taking cute pictures and stuff, but that's not gonna really do it. So I decided to do weird things in the combination as well as being sexy. And I'll be like cracking an egg in my mouth or something. And then people will share that, be like, this girl's so weird and quirky or
But they love
whatever.
you.
Belle would put up videos like meet my best friend and then end up playing with an octopus the entire time. First of all, who hangs out with an octopus? Belle would also rake in even more views because, get this, other creators couldn't resist making reaction videos to her bizarre content. And guess what? It only worked in her favor, boosting her visibility and likes like crazy. But not only that, her signature face became her trademark, adding an extra layer of mystery and intrigue that people just couldn't get enough of. Maybe the most challenging part of the nature of Belle's content was that she had to keep upping her game to make her personality even more fascinating. That's how she became even more infamous. Remember back in 2019 when she dropped the bombshell that she was selling bathwater for $30 a bottle? And here's the craziest part of all of this. Her bathwater sold out in just 2 days. I mean, what? I am now selling my bathwater. This is what humanity has come to. Get yours here. This was quite the story, guys. Other creators went wild over it, some reacting with utter shock, while others went full throttle and recreated the stunt by coming up with their own bizarre items to sell. Tons and tons of articles were all over this madness, with some even claiming that the bathwater infected more than 50 people with STDs.
Attributed this face specifically to Belle Delphine.
Anyways, even even those wild and negative posts, they were pure gold for Belle's PR game. People were always buzzing and dying to know what she'd pull off next.
Even though they're bad, are still kind of good.
It's good press. It's always good press.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Belle Delphine had attracted an army of simps who totally fell head over heels for her. She had to keep them hooked, so the clickbaiting hit an all-time high. Like the time she said she'd post nudes if a photo of hers hit 1 million likes. And guess what? Almost 2 million likes poured in, and so she had to fulfill her promise. But did she? She did create the account on an adult content site, but here's the kicker. The content wasn't what people expected. Her videos were super catchy, like this one titled PewDiePie Goes All the Way Inside Belle Delphine. However, when people clicked, she was just sitting on her bed, fully clothed, eating an actual photo of PewDiePie. This might have been the beginning of her end because there were mixed reactions to it. Honestly, I'm not even mad, that was actually funny. But there were differing opinions. This has been the worst trade deal in the history of trade deals possibly ever. Disappointed, not very cool, Belle. As it would turn out, there was a massive campaign where people were literally ganging up to report her IG account, and they actually succeeded.
Suddenly there's huge waves of people trying to like report my stuff and then or spam. I just noticed it comes in waves, so I guess that time the wave won.
Yep, Belle Delphine lost over 4 million followers in the blink of an eye. But it doesn't stop there. It really took a toll on her. She got so demotivated that she slowly but surely started disappearing from all of her social media platforms. First, the uploads became less frequent, and then one day, crickets. Her YouTube, inactive. Website, down. No more merch, and her Patreon was a ghost town. This was the first time she pulled a disappearing act, and of course, everyone was freaking out. Where was she? Was she okay? Would she ever come back? Luckily for her fans, she did resurface 3 months later. But trust Belle Delphine to keep things mysterious. People were bursting with questions about where she had been, but when she came back, she shut them all down with just one line. I got arrested, LOL. The only explanation she gave was that some girl came to her party and stole her hamster, so she spray painted the girl's car, which led to her arrest. But on the brighter side, she got her hamster back, and then she accompanied the tweet with 4 photos backing up the weird claims. And can you believe it? People ate it up. But even then, there was no way to disprove her story because right after, she vanished again, and this time for a good 8 months. Still, even in her absence, Belle had the upper hand. Why? Because she left everyone with more questions than answers. So when she did return, people were beyond curious. Was she really arrested? Was it just a prank? And let's not forget, people were still holding on to her promise of posting the adult content she had teased her simps with. But no one really knew anything about her personal life, so Belle remained quite the character. She was a master at creating anticipation, and believe it or not, she's been pulling this off up until now. And then she came back. Yep, everyone was waiting. Her video titled "I'm Back" blew up, gaining over 20 million views in just a week. This was when she made the cardinal mistake. Started appearing on podcast after podcast. This one wrong move made Belle lose her mystery as people started to see her as a normal person. Unlike in the beginning when she was super quiet and the only way you'd meet her was by watching her weird content. She should have maintained that.
Welcome Belle Delphine to the show! Yay!
Until that moment, she had successfully kept her life ambiguous. Belle Delphine was a master at just dropping enough teases here and there, keeping everyone glued to her every move.
Heard you don't really do podcasts or interviews.
Yeah, well, I've been trying to go through them recently because I was cold turkey. I didn't do anything until recently.
But unbeknownst to her, she was slowly unraveling the mystery she had so carefully maintained for years. You see, unlike creating content where she could control the narrative, interviews demanded her to talk, explain, and reveal more than she ever intended. For example, people were absolutely crushed when she admitted that her stunts were all fake. Yep, some crazy antics that made her famous turned out to be nothing more than smoke and mirrors.
Is it true or is it fake? It was fake.
But that wasn't the only bombshell that she dropped. She also gave everyone a glimpse into her horrific upbringing, which kind of made sense as to why she settled on the outrageous outline persona she created.
See, I come from a very conservative family, like super religious.
And then she sent her simps packing when she revealed she had a boyfriend all along. Can you believe it? The internet almost broke when she casually mentioned that.
The
partner?
Who's the guy?
It's my boyfriend.
How long has that relationship been going on for?
The whole time I've been Belle Delphine.
No way.
How long is that?
3 years.
The only reason half of her simps were still hanging on was because they were dying for her to finally fulfill her promise of posting those nudes. She knew exactly how to keep them on the hook, teasing that she was finally ready to drop the goods. And then towards the end of 2020, Belle made a tweet saying she was now ready to post the long-awaited, long-overdue X-rated pics and videos. It seemed like a calculated move to end the year with a bang, so naturally everyone was glued to their phones, refreshing their feeds like crazy so they wouldn't miss the big moment. There was a dilemma. This was the only thing people were waiting for. If she left again, no one would care because they were done with her and got everything they ever wanted. Remember, Belle had built her brand structure perfectly by people keeping on the loop, so getting back was always seamless. Was she to give away this one card she had left? Talk about being between a rock and a hard place. Depending on her priorities, she stood to make a lot of money. Remember, she had an OF and at some point even disclosed to be making $1 million a month. However, her time was up and it was inevitable. She eventually had to pay the price. Here's where the dilemma kicked in. You see, this was the one thing everyone had been waiting for, otherwise there wasn't a single mystery to Belle anymore. So if she dished out this one card, how would she ever get people hooked if she left and came back again? No one would ever care if she vanished into thin air or not. Furthermore, she couldn't postpone this anymore. Remember the first time it got her IG account taken down. Remember, Belle had built her brand so perfectly by keeping everyone on the loop, so coming back was always a breeze. But if she gave away this one final card, well, talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place. Anyways, Belle Delphine eventually succumbed to the pressure and dropped the videos on her OF. But she also made a ton of millions of dollars, so if that was the goal, then a win is a win, I guess. Belle needed to leave again, as always, and so in February 2021, when she announced she'd be taking a break to come up with a new setup for her content across platforms, as had been anticipated, the simps couldn't care less because there wasn't anything interesting about Belle Delphine anymore. No one has heard from Belle Delphine since then, but this time it's been an insanely long hiatus, and it's unclear whether people are still as invested. For her to just drop everything despite the insane amount of money she could have made, some believe she must have already made a fortune and didn't need to come back anymore. So whatever the future holds for Belle Delphine, a lot of people see her as a legend.
My 1 year break, for example, it didn't, it was stressful at first because I thought my career was wrecked. But aside from that, I actually had a really good year.
She used her fame to the max, retired without being clingy to her influencer status, and honestly, without Belle Delphine, makeup and hairstyle, she can look like entirely different person. Imagine getting rich off internet fame and then getting your privacy back because people aren't interested in prying into your life anymore. Belle is winning, honestly. This girl simply unlocked free roam after completing story mode. Honestly, if she just fades into internet legend and moves on with her life, I'll actually respect her more. Nothing is worse than an influencer past their prime and desperately trying to remain relevant. But unless Belle Delphine is built differently or just incredibly lucky, the reality is that the internet moves on fast. So many big creators have tried making comebacks only to find a completely different game. New players, new rules, making it practically impossible to dominate like they once did. And in Belle's case, the mystery that once surrounded her seems to have faded. The story is far from over, y'all. We finally got hold of Delphine and things are not looking good. Regardless of how twisted and mind-blowing Belle Delphine's career was, y'all are probably interested in just one question. Where is Belle Delphine currently? Well guys, there's good news and bad news. The good news is that Belle is alive and well. The bad one is that she's lost it all. All the money went fleeting just as fast as she made it. And now she has a shell of her former self. A total disaster with not a single fond memory of the days that she ruled the internet. If anything, Belle wishes she was dead.
I wish there was a way to kill me on the internet and just like somehow delete everything or just kind of die in a sense and just move on. I like chapters.
Really?
Yeah, I think
just
it,
like to
well, it'd be quite
disappear
nice.
Would be a nice
yeah,
way of saying
maybe
it.
close the chapter, but there's no way to do that, which is...
Somewhere around February 2024, Belle came out of hiding again, only that this time she didn't get the grand welcome that she was always used to. No one even noticed that she was back. I mean, I wouldn't be making a video months after the podcast release. Anyways, so Belle graced the Louis Theroux podcast and had extremely disheartening news to share with her fans. Right off the bat, Belle clearly hasn't moved past enticing old, lonely men, as she revealed that she and her long-term boyfriend cum manager have this not-so-popular business where they sell dolls. Well guys, I won't go into details on what kind of dolls here because I don't want to bear the mighty humbling wrath of YouTube, but for someone who had an OF and made over 5 million euros in just one revealing photo, I hope you can guess the kind of dolls she sells. And people are actually buying. It never stops, guys. It literally never stops. The Bathwater was just the onset of this whole madness. On the brighter side, Delphine used a chunk of her money well. One of the best things she might have done during her prime was probably remembering that she would need a roof over her head when all of these things were gone. So she got herself an 8-bedroom, 7-bathroom mansion in the countryside. However, she told Louis that her career's dark side has come in the form of death threats, a stalker turning up at her address was shared online, and also has cost her a relationship with her father, which she mentions was one of her greatest regrets. We will also later learn that she never cashed out millions as people had assumed for the Bathwater business, if it was even a business in the first place. Turns out she got reprimanded for not labeling the bottles properly, as whatever she was selling was considered a hazard. Y'all remember when she disappeared and then came back 3 months later to say she got arrested? It has now come full circle. After the podcast interview, Delphine took to X and revealed how PayPal did her dirty. Since it's been a couple of years now, I can finally share the biggest L I've ever taken. Not only did I not earn any money from selling my bathwater, I in fact lost money doing it. PayPal, without any warning, closed my PayPal account and took the 90 grand that I earned from selling my bathwater. There was nothing I could do. I tried phoning them up and they just said, sorry, nothing we can do. I knew it would be a better news story to say that I made so much money from selling my bathwater, so I just kept it a secret. Ultimately, I'm still glad I did it since it was a really funny time on the internet when it happened, and I still did mail out all the bathwater people bought from me, which I did all by myself, so F PayPal, I guess. Apparently, PayPal took her money, claiming that she had broken some TNCs, but would not tell her which one. But my goodness, what a loss. Doesn't seem like she can get it back after all these years, but with the kind of crazy audience she had back then, PayPal would have given her the money. It might have just seemed like pocket change back then because this girl was not even making bank. She was the bank. Belle also said that she did what she did because she knew she was the biggest she would ever get and she needed money to buy her dream house, which she did. But unfortunately, she paid a greater price for her actions. Beyond being disowned by her parents, who she says never liked her even as a kid, Belle said her greatest battle currently is her mental health, and there are days when she just wishes she didn't exist. It's interesting to see how the whole thing played out. According to her, she should have done better businesses back in the day, but she cannot undo anything now except perhaps close that chapter. So what do y'all think? Was it all worth it in the end? Let's chat about it down in the comments. Thanks for watching, loves, and let me know which other once-in-a-lifetime big shot content creator you want me to dig up next.